What is up, YouTube? So the other day I got to watching a bunch of videos where older generations are starting to complain about younger generations and how much time that they are spending with either their video game consoles or like iPhones or iPods, iPads, and all those things, about how they're spending too much time with that and not going outside. And in all these videos, it's a bunch of older generations talking about how when they were kids, they would go outside and they would play with all their friends, and they would go down to like a river or a park and just hang out with their friends and be outside and have a good time. And then it cuts to generations of kids today and how all they do is spend all their time on video games and iPhones and don't really hang out with their friends outside or go outside and do activities too much. And while I do agree with these videos that kids are spending way too much time inside and not a lot of time communicating with other people and getting to know friends or going outside and being active, one thing that I realize about these videos is that everyone seems to blame the kids, that it's their fault for doing all of these things and not going outside and spending all the time on their iPhones or what have you, all this technology instead of going outside. But unless kids today are making thousands of dollars to be able to afford all these things, it's not necessarily just the kids' fault. It is also the generation's fault who are saying that they used to go outside and doing all this stuff. It's also their fault as well. Because unless kids are making thousands of dollars, they would have no way of affording all these things. So while everyone is blaming all the kids for all these problems, and I do agree it is partially their fault, it is also the fault of the generation who are complaining about these, because they are the ones who are providing these devices and these things for these kids. I mean, these days you see kids who are like 3 years old and they know how to work an iPod or an iPhone better than I would ever even know how to operate those things. I mean, when I was a kid, if someone gave me that, I would have no idea what to do with that. I mean, I only knew how to work a TV and an N64 when I was a kid, and a Super Nintendo. Other than that, if you were to give me that, I would have no idea and I would get bored and I would go outside. But that is also because my parents are the ones who told me to go outside and go hang out with friends. But I feel like today, when kids are faced with like boredom or whatever, parents are the ones who are providing them with these things to distract them and keep them busy so they are able to go about their day without being distracted by their kids. So what I'm saying is that it's not necessarily all the kids' fault, because they are being taught what they are learning from their parents, and their parents are the ones who are probably as well on these devices probably the same amount as the kid, and that's why the kids today are learning about all these iPhones and iPads and being stuck on those. And that's because kids are pretty much just blank slates who are taught from their elder generation, from their parents, their grandparents, and their peers about what they should be doing. And if all they're doing is just giving them all these devices to distract themselves, it's not just their fault that they're not going outside and being active and gaining all this weight and just being antisocial. It's the fault of the peers who are the ones who are teaching them these things. What I'm saying is, it would just be like me giving someone a whole bag of crack and just keep providing them with a whole thing of crack and then being like, I don't know why they're addicted to this crack. That doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I don't know where, as a kid, I was never addicted to crack. I don't get why they're addicted to crack. I mean, I did provide them with the crack over and over again, but I don't get why they're addicted to crack. I mean, if parents these days are so concerned with their kids not going outside and not being social and getting to meet new people and making friends, teach them to go outside and teach them to go and interact with people. Don't just, anytime they have a question for you, throw a phone in their face to distract them from whatever it is that they're thinking about. So what I'm saying is that I know kids spend way too much time with their iPhones, iPads, computers, phones, blah, 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 and they don't spend too much time with friends. But everyone keeps blaming just the kids, that they're the ones at fault for these things. But it's also the fault of the people who keep providing them with these devices. And kids aren't just the ones just to be blaming by themselves. I mean, I know kids should probably know better, but kids don't really know better. Kids know what they are taught, and it's all up to peers and elders to teach them what they should know and how they should interact with society and be involved in things and not just stare at a screen 24/7 and be concerned with how many likes they get on Facebook and Instagram. But really, YouTube, that is all I really wanted to talk about. That is just something that I wanted to get off of my chest because I've seen way too many of those videos where they're saying kids spend way too much time on all these devices on social media and all their devices that they have, and they just keep blaming the kids for it. But what they don't say is that it's also their peers' fault because kids do not make that amount of money to be able to afford all these things. So they shouldn't be the ones taking the full blame for it. And that is really all I wanted to talk about, YouTube. So, YouTube, that is all I had to say about this entire subject. In the comments down below, let me know if you agree or disagree with what I'm talking about. Let me know your thoughts on this whole subject, this whole kids spending way too much time on the internet and not enough time spending it with their friends and their peers to get to socialize. But anyway, YouTube, that is it. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did agree with this or disagree, I'm calling you out if you disagree with this. You have to click the thumbs up as well. Also, YouTube, if you did enjoy this, I would love it if you shared it with all of your friends and maybe even subscribe to my channel, because that would be great. Again, YouTube, I hope that you did enjoy this video, and that is it, and I will see you next time. Bye. Everywhere that are just going flying everywhere, and then I have a concert for One Direction that I have to go to, and I just don't know how I'm going to be able to deal with everything. And then on top of that, did you hear that Susie and Jim broke up? Like, I don't know what